Okay. Hi there, Richard. Fantastic to have you on the show today. Built, trusted, chosen. If you could just introduce yourself real quick, we'll unpack it as we progress. But just briefly, who are you? What do you do? How do you serve the world?
You bet, Wes. Thanks. Well, it's great being here. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I go back a while. Been an entrepreneur for about 35 years. Started when I got out of the Marine Corps, the U.S. Marine Corps back in '87. Was working, decided to work for myself because I kind of learned in the Marine Corps I didn't take direction well. So that was a good proving ground. So went on from there, had to become an entrepreneur. Um, it was great. I really figured out my way, ended up being a custom water feature builder and steel sculptor. Became world class at that. Did really, really well with that for about 20 years. And then 0809 hit, and I didn't do so well anymore. I lost everything there. So I lost the business, lost my home. I had a wife and 6 kids at the time. I still have all of them, but it was kind of rough because they were all very young. Um, but powered through that, relocated, started over, built a couple more businesses, did a gym. I did a construction business, started doing that as well. So I did roofing, siding, windows. That was excellent. Scaled those two things. Ended up writing a book because I started helping other entrepreneurs because they were wondering how I got through all that. Did all that, number one in the field, lose everything, start over again, duplicate it. So I started noticing that they all do the same wrong things. So I said, there's a pattern here. Let me write this book. And I called it Escape the Owner Prison. The contractor's new way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth while loving life. Because all those things we couldn't do as contractors because we were too busy doing the actual work. So I wanted
Yeah.
to really, so I started just putting all that together. That became a bestseller. Launched that, built an academy around that, started coaching. And now it's Sharpen the Spear. It's been a number of years, probably 8 years now. And yeah, it's been awesome. So that kind of brings us up to speed. Short story.
Yeah, brilliant. A lot of twists and turns in your story.
Mm.
Obviously, a high achiever, and but also that the time when it was difficult. I suppose we all have those difficult times, and it's a matter of understanding them and figuring out what went wrong and how to adjust, correct course. What business were you running at that time? Did you say?
I built custom water features. So waterfalls, streams, ponds, things like that. And
Yeah,
then I did steel sculpture. So I was doing these massive steel sculptures and stuff because I just wanted to weld things. So I taught myself and I became like
yeah,
famous or what.
yeah,
Really, I was never a starving artist. I sold everything I made. So I was one of the
yeah.
ones.
Pretty entrepreneurial, obviously,
Yeah.
and I think we all see that a similar trend. So I serve the trades and construction businesses as well, and it's the same as my journey. So you start off with a skill set, oftentimes. So in a trade based scenario, you start as an apprentice, you learn your way through, you become fully qualified, then you're some sort of manager, and then you work your way to the top, and then you eventually start your own founder-led business, and you've got no idea how to run a business. You've got a great skill set. This is my experience, what my life was like, but no understanding of how to run a business and so on. And I think learning from the war stories that you might have and being mentored and coached is a really powerful thing. So you can learn from other people's mistakes. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the problem is you hit it right on the head. It's like we're really good at what we do, but
yeah,
no one teaches business. I mean, real business. You can go get a degree and you'll still know nothing. Okay, when it comes to the actual business application. So here's what I thought. You know what I thought business was, Wes? I thought
well,
business was making a lot of money. Okay. So I was making a lot of money. So I'm like, I'm a businessman. What I
yeah,
did know was all the hard stuff that no one really wants to do. That's what business is. Making money is the
yeah.
easiest thing you can do in business. I often tell people that making money is not the hard part. It's everything else to keep that business going and compliant and growing and everything else. So, yeah, I learned that lesson pretty hard, pretty fast.
Yeah, it's so true. I think it's so seducing. It certainly was for me. I could, as a young guy working, I could see what they were charging me out as in terms of an hourly rate, and thought, man, if I could just get a fraction of what they're paying me pittance comparable to what they're charging out at, that you kind of don't calculate all the extra work you've got to do. And so you start out your business. I certainly started out my business and realized, hey, it's only roughly about half the time that's actually productive in terms of creating income. And the rest of it's just managing stuff and doing all the extra stuff you've got to do and having no idea how to do that. So I think bringing people into your world and into your corner who can help support you and guide you in the right direction. So certainly for me, just all I knew was what I observed in the various roles as I worked my way through. And I think that's true with most of us. We only have what we've observed working for other people, and then we don't know what we don't know. So it's great to hear your story. And so, what do you think was that turning point for you when things were pretty dire? You were married with a bunch of kids. How many kids did you have? Did you say?
6.
Oh, wow,
And
that's a
all
lot of mouths to
four
feed.
and 4 years and under when this all happened. So
Wow.
it was a lot of, yeah, it was a lot of crazy. But yeah, you know what it was? I think even though you're running hard and you're doing what you do, again, your capacity is limited. We all have a ceiling. And I think that you're saying like, and here's one of my bigger flaws during that first 20 years. I'm world acclaimed. I'm in newspapers, magazines, TV, winning awards. I'm doing all this great stuff. I am really successful, like from the front. But
Yeah.
what you don't realize is all of that other stuff you don't do, that's what like drains you, right? And now you're moving out there, you're not paying attention to that. And when it comes that time, like things really started to constrict, right? So now here you're like, well, I got to keep this thing going because a big part of the big trouble I had, Wes, was my business is who I was.
Mhm.
Okay. So a lot of times you can be the best HVAC guy, the best trim carpenter. I'm the best water feature builder, the sculptor in the world. Like no one can be better than me. And that identity will have you make a whole bunch of bad decisions
Yeah.
because you'll do whatever it takes to hold on to that identity. Because if that business goes away, who am I? I'm
Yeah.
nobody. Okay. So, and I
Yeah.
did a lot of bad things that just sped me to the 6 foot hole in the ground. I mean,
Yeah, man. Right.
it was, so that's just one of those cautionary tales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't become your business. And we can talk about this and why we want to get out of that owner prison, because that's part of being in the prison.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, just not knowing the full context of who you are, who you were back then. But I mean, you were a father multiplied by 6, and you're a husband, and some of those key key aspects of who you are as an identity at that time. Um, those things ideally will stay for you for the rest of your life, you know, but businesses come and go, opportunities come and go, things change. But some things in your life remain forever. So was it really just a refocus for you on some of these key things?
Well, what really happened was, in one morning, this was right in early '09, I woke up and I was thinking about my 6 kids who like loved it when I came home. They'd all like crawl to me, run to me, whatever. They just want to be with me. My one son was chasing my truck down the drive when I was leaving. He's crying, because I'm leaving. And so I'm in bed that morning. I'm like, man, I had this epiphany. I'm like, if I stay on this path where business is first, do whatever it takes, right? I'm going to ruin my children's future because more is caught than taught when it comes to kids. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can tell them all the right things. They're only going to do what they see me do.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Anyone, if you don't think that's true, you haven't been there yet. Okay. Because
Yeah.
that's what happens. And I'm like, man, so they're going to have failed marriages and broken relationships or not. I didn't have a failed marriage, but that's where it was going. Right. All this
Yeah.
was going to happen. I'm like, so I got up and I went in the office and said, we're done today. And I shut the
Yeah.
doors.
Wow.
I went to my yard. So my guys had my last cup of coffee with them. It's the guys can't do this anymore. They've been with me over 10 years, same crew.
Mm.
They were the best. And we were tight, everything else, but I'll tell you, haven't spoke to them since.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
that identity thing, Wes, it's like part 2 of that
Mm.
whole we're done. I had a bonfire in the backyard and I took all my uniforms, all new, whatever, and I burned everything. And I said,
Wow.
I'll never be controlled by my business again. I got video, just burning everything, and to this
Yeah.
day, so it's been 16 years plus, I have not built a water feature or done a sculpture since. I haven't touched a well in a
Yeah.
while, because
Yeah.
it would suck me back in. It's like
Yeah.
an addiction almost. You know what I mean? I mean, I've done other businesses, but they weren't like that. That was really unique. That business was it was a kind of, it wasn't completely just me, but I was it. I was the face. I was the doing. I was the big thing, so.
Yeah, so you touched on something really interesting. So the business was built around you and your recognition in the industry for what you were doing, being the creative side as well, the artist, so to speak. So the business built around you. So you couldn't just handball it to a team. You had a team around you, but it wasn't sustainable without you driving everything. I suppose,
Right.
is that a big part of what you're coaching people through as part of, or like the part of the book, or no doubt, but
Yeah, it is. You really have to. Well, now I like to give people this little hinge box, and it says your ego on the front of it. And I want them to put their ego in there and close that and put it on the shelf, and that's where it should stay, because your ego is what gets you in trouble. And I built that from nothing, a
yeah.
wheelbarrow and a shovel, back of my Jeep, doing stuff for nothing. Just when you get that investment of your time, your energy, your passion, you grow it to something pretty awesome. Like that's a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, man, I did this, and everything was about me, Wes. I'm being straight up. I mean, it was, the old enough about me. Let's talk about me. Okay. I was
Yeah.
just, look what I built. I was on to the next big thing. What I got to top that. I kept doing that, and all that stuff. So it really distorted my idea of business.
Mm,
I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, I have an office manager. I've got a crew. They're good. We're really, really awesome. But I wasn't thinking about, could I duplicate this? Can I do other things? I have a family now. Aren't I supposed to spend time with them?
mm.
That wasn't in my wheelhouse. It really
Yeah.
wasn't.
I think a lot of people set out to start a business to create freedom, but they find that they're free to work any 90 hours a week that they want, which is,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the
I think
challenge.
I think that's it. I think everyone's misled when it comes to business. Okay. I call it a mistress. Okay. Business, when you have a business, it's like a mistress. It's gonna it's gonna want you in the morning, it's gonna want you at night, it's gonna call to you in your dreams, it's gonna make you think about it all the time, right? It's gonna pull you away from everything else you should be caring about, because you've got that hot mess of a business that doesn't run by itself, right? It needs you all the time. You got to open the door to to be able to make money. You
Yeah.
can't shut down. You can't go on vacation. Even if you do, you're thinking about your business. That's the owner prison, right? That's where you're stuck in there. And
Yeah.
until you can break free of that, okay, and that's an identity thing.
Mm.
You got to get and understand. Like, listen, I get it. You're the best at what you do. I'll give you that. Okay,
Yeah. It sounds
but
to me that it's like the money is the master. And so it's a horrible master. You call it a mistress, but almost a master. It's instructing every single thing that you do.
except
Um,
except
it,
except Wes, the problem is it's not the money.
yeah.
It's the business.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Okay.
because when you're an entrepreneur, and this is just my experience and all the people I work with, it's not about money. It's about, I built this thing, and I
Mm,
want this thing to grow, and I want it to be successful. And I want real estate. I want more trucks, and I want this, and I want that. I want people to see all that. I don't. I personally never thought about money. I
okay.
want this. I want this great thing. So and I don't mean everybody's like that, but when you're
Yeah.
building something, it's that you're really drawn to. It's not
Mm,
making money. Do you know what I mean? It's great you make
yeah.
money, but does
Yeah.
that make sense? Because it's
Yeah, for
kind of,
sure.
I don't think people
No,
think
that's a
of
good
it
way
that
of
way.
looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were the things that you must have changed a bunch of things, but there was probably some key distinctive decisions you made to change the way in which you would move forward? Because you've obviously done a heap of things since then and been very successful at what you're doing. What were the key drivers of that?
So I like things really simple. Okay. So here's my litmus test. Okay, for my next business. Okay. If my wife calls me and she needs me for something, I want to be there in 15 minutes.
Wow.
I'm going to build a business so I can do that. We've got
Wow.
6
Yeah.
kids. We're homeschooling them. She doesn't call me. She'd do this once in a while, but it wasn't like she was needy or anything. But I'm saying that's it. I want to be there with my kids. If they need
Yeah.
me, I want to do that. So how do I build a business to do that? And I think if
Yeah.
more people started with that in mind, they first they probably wouldn't start so fast. Okay. Because they have to do a little more research and kind of talk to the right people who can really help them, who've been there already. Because the first 20 years, Wes, I took no help.
Mm.
No one could coach me. No one could tell me what to do. I had billionaire clients trying to give me advice. And I'm like, what do you know? You ever build a water feature? Of course you haven't. What do you know? You're going to do so. You just own professional sports teams and manufacturing plants and all this stuff. But what do you know about business? Okay. That's the level of stupid I operated at. Okay. Just my ego was so big. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable, right? I mean, it could have been, and everything they told me was right. It all, if only, right? If only I had done those things. So you really want to like, well, what would that look like? How do you build a business like that? I don't mean you have to be home in 15 minutes, but that principle,
Yeah.
like if I have to be here, I've created a prison. It's like
Mm.
work release, but it's reversed. You go home instead of the work, right? So like you got to work all the time and then go home. You get released to go home for a little bit, sleep, kiss your wife, and come back the next morning back to prison. Okay, that's what you got to do
Yeah.
everything. So it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true to have a life goal as well as a business. The business should be there to support you as a person, as the founder. If you get things in the right position in your life and scenario, your family, etc. I was really fortunate starting my business. Obviously, I can work from home, which I did, particularly when the kids were young. It was such a cool blessing because I could drop them off to school and pick them up. I could also be available for, after school activities. I was able to coach the basketball team for both sons who did that, or drop the daughter off to dance class and that kind of stuff, just to be available. Those years fly by
Yeah, they
super
do.
fast. So
Yeah,
I was fortunate, but not everyone's that fortunate to be able to do these things.
well, here's the thing on that. Like, so I do too. Like, I have a kid in the Marine Corps now. I got moved out. I got kids, they're all in their 20s and late teens and everything. So it's really great. But I think, I think it's all about priorities. Okay. When you really go, well, what are the actual priorities?
Mm.
And most people won't hold to their priorities. Business, again, it'll draw you away. It'll make you compromise a lot of things. So you have to have a lot of, personal integrity, right?
Mm.
Like how you really like, this is my rules. These are my non-negotiables. Okay. In life. So this business has to fit that. Okay. And and who in my close circle, including a spouse, is going to have the courage to tell me I'm drifting?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell me like, did you ever? Because my friends try to tell me I'm a little intimidating. So they were kind of like, have you ever thought about, they're trying, and I'm like, you need a bean counter, man. I was making all this money, but I didn't know what I was doing with it. So,
Yeah.
it just evaporates, right? So that ability to heed wise counsel is really important. You build that around you too, because you have to have some accountability partners, man, or the business will win. It'll take things over.
And how did you go about drawing these people into your world? Was it like professional relationships oftentimes, or was it just friendship relationships, people you mixed with in your circle? How did you? Because you say you didn't take advice very well earlier, but you obviously changed that to
Yeah.
shift craft.
Yeah. I
But
really found, I found, professionals. I have to like someone. I have to be aligned with someone to listen to
mhm,
them.
mhm,
Like if they're like really good at this little part and the rest of who they are is just a giant mess, I'm not talking
mhm,
that. I don't have respect for them. Okay. I
mhm.
have to be aligned with them for their like anybody. If you really look at who you listen to, you're probably pretty dialed in with them. You can think a lot of the same ways and stuff like that. You could be friends, even as a professional, you're not trying to get just that one little thing from there that they do well. So that was the first thing. Who can do that in my space? Who can
Yeah.
help me with that? What am I going to do? And I'm still kind of an island. I was, but I started getting out there, talked to this person, started doing seminars, started looking at conferences and go do these things and personal development and started doing a little bit of that. Not crazy, but like really started to understand, well, who am I? How
Mm,
did I go from all that to nothing? Okay. Now what
yeah.
am I going to do now? That was a bit of a struggle, you know?
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense to build. Yes, if you hit rock bottom, that's the best foundation to start and build something new and fresh. To start again, so to speak, in some ways. So you go on. Sorry, you
No, I was
about to
going to
say
say
something?
that you're exactly right. And I tell people, I go, best and worst thing that ever happened, right? 0809. If that didn't happen, taking everything from me, okay, I could never have done what I'm doing today. I'd never have the kids I have because of my influence and being around and everything else has been just amazing. So I'm like, it was horrible and it was the best thing ever. Like it
Yeah,
needed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I was a boxer, right? A really good boxer and all this stuff. My last fight was 10 seconds long. A guy gave me a cheesy uppercut, broke my cheekbone, couldn't feel, never got to get in the ring again.
Uh,
Best thing that ever happened. Okay.
yeah.
Because you know what I had to do then? Go start a business, keep working that and then grow that. Okay. Because
Right.
I'd still be in the gym. I'd be a gym rat.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the gym this morning, hitting the bag, but I don't get in the ring. I can't box me. So I moved on with my life. Right. So we get these periods where it's so catastrophic. And the other side, if you don't just lay down and die, okay, you go, okay, I got to deal with it. And you move forward. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Like suffering is just good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. There's growth
That's
in
how we build.
suffering, man. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's how we build muscle. We stretch and strain the muscle and break it a little bit so that it can build back stronger. It's I love the idea of the past not equaling the future as well, and I love the way that you turned your life and everything around, and your business has obviously flourished. I like the concept you speak of. I've watched a number of your podcasts and other material, and you speak of building a business um, in with the exit in mind. I can't remember how precisely you phrase it, but building it so that it's sellable eventually. And even if you don't choose to sell it, you're still building systems and structures in place. Can you speak to that a little bit of what
Yeah,
that means?
we call it exit strategy, right? And I always tell people there's 2 times to do exit strategy. The best time is before you start a business. Okay. And the second best time would be right now because no one ever
Yeah.
has them, especially in the construction world. We're just building things. We're making things. We're running day to day. You know, we're in the whole thing. But here's the deal. And I'll give a real high view of this. Exit strategy in the simplest terms, it's how long and how much. How long do you want to do this business and how much you want for it when you get done? Okay. You can
Mm,
start with 2 simple numbers. 10 years, $10 million. I don't care. Okay. Great. Now you got 10 years and I got 10 years and I want to get $10 million. Now I reverse engineer. What does that look like? If I'm starting today, well, what that's going to tell me is when I hired my first person, what do I need? What are my metrics? What am I looking at? What am I doing? Okay, I'm going to get to that $10 million exit. That'll be great. Well, if I'm getting a $10 million valuation, okay, I'll get that. Well, okay, I'm probably making 7 figures. Okay, I'm
mm,
probably doing $1 million a year in my own income, right? My
mm.
active business income. Now I make it to the 10 years. Someone comes in, they hand me a check for 10 million, maybe 10.5. If I'm a good negotiator, I get it. I shake hands. They're in, I'm out. Now what I gain 10 million, but what I lose? A
A
million a
million a
year,
year.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now that I'm back at the beginning and I'm reverse engineering this, what do I have to also engineer? A passive income stream of $83,000 a month by the time I hit 10 years. And if I can
Yeah.
do that, whether it's real estate investments, whatever it looks like, now I exit with 10 million and I still got $1 million a year coming in and I'm not
Yeah.
working. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what exit strategy does for you. And here's the best
Mm,
part about it. It becomes a really great business filter because when you start getting momentum and you start achieving and you start getting successful, the little opportunity fairy is going to come floating by. Okay. Because everyone's going to want you to, they want some of your money. Hey, you should do this. You should do that. Say, okay, that sounds great. Let me run that through my exit strategy. And if it gets me closer and faster to my exit, I'm all in. If it doesn't, it's a hard no. Really
mm.
simple, because we want what's going to get us to the exit. If you get distracted by some multi-level marketing or another product that really doesn't coincide with your business, but it looks like you can make money with it, you're going to be a multiple business owner when you can't even run the one you got. Okay, you're going to start another one. Okay, you're just going to be a mediocre nothing. Okay, who's going to be chained to multiple businesses now. Okay, keep
Yeah.
the main thing, drive towards that exit, analyze it through that, because all your steps now are they're expected. There's a great benefit to this when you have a family. You can let them know where you're at in this journey, right? Because we
Mm,
got startup first 2 years, you're going to wear all the hats, work a lot, do all that, and then you're going to get into growth, which is expensive, and you're growing and adding and doing all that, and then that's another period, and then it's scale. Now we start to duplicate, we start to do that. It costs less money, but takes a little more time. Right now you're moving out. So what does that look like? So you can give warning to your family of the next phase you're about to enter into. Okay, look, everybody, this is the move we're doing. I'm going to be working really hard for the next 2.5, 3 months, just getting this thing off the ground. Then I got the people in place, will be okay. So I just need to understand it's going to be a little less time, but I'd love for you to cheer for me because this is part of the end game. So once the family knows, they don't need to give you input. They don't need to be part of the business or anything like that. But if they just know what's going on, because if you come home and they wonder what's wrong and say it's business, you wouldn't understand. Like the worst thing to say to your wife, especially, you wouldn't understand. If you just throwing a wall up and shutting down, okay, that's a great way to wreck your marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
But if they understand, and you don't want to spend 2 hours talking about what went on in the day, they don't want to hear that either. Okay. My wife has never had interest in my business. Doesn't want to run it. Doesn't want to be. She was 6 kids. She wants to raise them in school. We're doing all this stuff, and it's great. And I'm totally good with that. Probably works out for the best, right? I mean, but a little interest, a little this, a little bit of hey, pat you on the back, keep going. You're doing a great job. That's what you want from the family. But they understand. And then when your kids see that, here's the big takeaway, Wes. When your kids are watching that and you're communicating with them and they understand the business, see you're building it so that it runs itself, they might actually be interested in having a business one day. Because most kids of most business owners, they want nothing to do with having a business because they want to be around for their kids. They want to do this, they want to do that, right? They saw what it was, they hear what it should be, and they see what it is, and that's two different things, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the biggest blessings in my life right now is my son has started working with me one day a week. I know you'll do some things with your son as well, which is cool. He's in a similar path to you, but it's such a cool thing, isn't it? When you're able to mentor them in a different step in their life. The big fear for me was once they turn to adults, they'll be off doing their own life, which is cool. And you want them to flourish and do whatever they need to do and go beyond being in the household and all that stuff. But to have him one day a week, and he's got visions and ideas to start his own business, but to have him alongside for that little while, so I can support him in some of those lessons I learned the hard way, help to mentor him so he doesn't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, I do with my kids. Yeah, I do the same thing like at the gym. I had them at the gym. I'm selling memberships through there. We're working out. I'm training people. I got trainers going. We're doing all this stuff. So they lived kind of in it. They got to come in it and just be around it. And they learn they construct the same thing. We did all these different things. So it was really able to have them get acclimated to it. And like, I don't care if they ever have a business. They're going to do whatever they do. That's all good. But I want them to know what it looks like, what it is. I also made them go work at like fast food restaurants. Okay. You go work that, go work in a systemized environment and see how rotten that is. Okay. Pay your dues, do that. And they all did that for a couple of years. Now they know. Now, when you do start a business, you get that, you see all the different aspects of it, and then go work for people, find a good job, go start your own business, do both, whatever it takes. But having that ability to have them around, seeing a better experience of business ownership, like you having that freedom and being, that's why your son's like working with you.
Yeah.
Because it was he saw a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully, and so my second son, he doesn't want to follow the same industry, but he's a fitness guy, so he's studying to be a personal trainer. But at least, hopefully, I can guide him in that journey as well, because it's self-employment, effectively, the personal training scenario. So there's some of the things on the horizon. But it's great to speak to someone like you who's been before me and done a lot of things really well and been a great success. When you're bringing on, so you coach people in the construction field, obviously, a lot of the time. What are some of the key levers that you find you need to work on, in simple terms that seem to pop up?
The first thing always is trying to, sometimes not the first thing, but it's the end goal, helping the owner understand they're the biggest obstacle to the business. You are the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that 10X? Big problem. So it's that realization, that mindset shift when they understand that, because you ask them where they want the business to go, and they give you this great vision and they want to do this, this, and this. They say, well, I love it, but you can't do it if you're here. You're in the way. Okay. You got to learn to, and that letting go. Sometimes it's the literal, putting the literal hammer down, like just stop. Okay. Yes. They're not as good as you, but they're good enough where your customers don't know the difference. Okay. And then train them up a little more, focus on being on it. I do what's called working on your 5%. So what you want to define, Wes, is the 5% of the business only you can do as the owner. It's growth. It's not accounting. It's not, turning a wrench. Okay. It's not that. There's other things. Once you dial in what that is, that's all you do. Everything else is delegated. It's automated, delegated, eliminated with those three things. Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to automate whatever we can. We want to build systems so you can delegate, put people in them so they can win. Then you want to eliminate, redundancies, cost ineffectiveness, all that, and yourself. You want to eliminate yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
This daily picture. And when sometimes that 5% really helps people because it gives them something to quantify. Like, well, and sometimes you got to go in as a coach and say, are you really the only person who can do that? Because I'm thinking that's not quite accurate.
Yes. Well, so,
Yeah,
we always feel as though the things we do really well, it's hard to delegate. It's the things that we don't do well. Maybe you're not good at bookkeeping, so you find that easy to assign to a bookkeeper. But if it's your skill set, it's really, really difficult to handle that and be confident that that's going to get done the way you like it done.
I had a mentor in big on the 5%, taught me all about it and stuff, and someone was at his house one day and he has a clock on the wall, battery and stuff, and it was stopped. They go, hey, man, your clock stopped. He goes, yeah, well, changing battery is not my 5%. And I'm like, legit, he was straight. He was like, I don't change that. I don't do that. Okay. I mean, he's a big hitter, you know what I mean? But I don't do that. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I had to tell a guy that the other day, Wes, who's wanted to do the same. I'm like, my schedule doesn't permit that. That's how we responded. I'm like, I just let you know, like, my schedule's kind of in charge. I can't just do whatever you want me to do. I don't do that. I don't do that for anybody. So no offense, still love to have you on the show, but I don't do that. Okay. And then, he insisted he has that. I said, well, we're good then. We don't have to do a show.
Yeah.
I said, sorry, buddy, it's my show. You don't tell me what to do. No, I'm sorry. I don't know what podcast you've been on, but Wes, I just show up when Wes is in charge. Okay. We just do whatever Wes wants. That's how this works.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? I suppose the things you say no to are more important than the things you say yes to some of the time, isn't it? The things.
Yeah. Well, it's one or the other, right? You say no to something, you can say yes to something else. You say yes to something, you have to say no to other things. So, we've got that proverbial, so many hours in a day. And the prioritization, like we talked about with life, is operationally. That's the 5%, is prioritizing operationally what you should be doing. And you have to instill the discipline not to do what you can do.
Yes.
Right. Because that's the draw. Like, and if someone's, and if you're complaining because they don't do it right, so I got to do it. Well, you're not a good trainer. Okay. Yeah. You haven't taught them. You haven't built the system for them to win in. Okay. So you have to look at yourself. This is why you're part of the block. Okay. They can't do their job well because you didn't enable them to.
Yeah.
You didn't build the lane. You didn't give them the guardrails. You didn't tell them how to win on the day, the week, the month, the year. You didn't tell them how to do that. You don't show them how to do it. You just tell them to do it, which is the number one sin of delegation. Okay. Yeah. Don't ever do that. When you delegate, they need to be able to drop into a process and or a system and be able to run. People want to work. They want to come to work and they want to do their job really well. And they want to win every day. And if you can lay it out so they win every day, don't you think they're going to want to come back tomorrow and win again? Because they come to work and win every day. That's a pretty good thing. If I can come and win every day, I want to go to that place. Okay, we all do. But if you don't enable that, all you have is a mystery job. They don't know what's going to happen every day. That's anxiety, chaos, and it's just terrible. So it's things as owners that we don't think about. We think, well, they're good at this. They've done bookkeeping, but they haven't done the way you want it. They don't know your process, right? Yeah. You got to take the time or hire someone to build that system out, to work with the team and get that done so they can have a good operational day and you can focus on your 5%.
Yeah. I love that idea, the 5%. And it will be different for every business circumstances. But what would you say are some of the really common 5% tasks or duties that you might take on as a founder?
Big one is strategy. Okay, a big fan of strategy. Okay, you're a business owner. We don't play checkers anymore. We play chess. Okay, you got to be 4 or 5 moves ahead. Where's this company going? What are we doing? Are we on point? What's our actual vision? What are we trying to achieve? How close are we? How close are we? I'm the captain of the ship. Okay. I can steer the ship. I can put someone else to steer the ship for a while while I take a nap, whatever, right? But I have to know where we're going. It's one thing to steer, but if you don't know where you're going, that's a problem. You are in charge of where this company is going. How much, how long, the whole thing, right? We talked about the exit strategy. What does that mean? If I'm in New York in my car and I'm going to go to California, I don't have a map. Well, I might end up at the Gulf of Mexico and think I'm at the Pacific Ocean because what do I know? I'm just driving around, taking whatever road takes me, right? So we got to have the plan. We got to have the map. That's your big job. And you got to see what's coming. You got to be out front looking at what's happening in the marketplace. And you're out networking and connecting with others, right? You're reeling in the big clients. You have an opportunity to have big clients, that's your job. Okay. Because those big clients are going to want to talk to you. Jeff Bezos, when they're closing a $100 million deal, he's in the room.
Yes.
Okay. He's out on the beach. Okay. The man in the room. Okay. But he's also not packing goods and shipping them on the conveyor belt. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. They understand that's his 5%, right? He gets it. So that's how we have to think.
That's brilliant. I love that. So many good advice you've given in such a short space of time. A question I do like to ask: what question have I missed that we should have delved into, and what would be the answer to that?
I think one of the big things is we talk about exit, how long, how much, but people haven't quantified how much. And what I mean by quantify is like, well, what does that actually mean to you in your life and what you're going to do after, right? Like how much is enough? You've got standard of living and you got quality of living.
Yes.
The very standard is I make more, I spend more. Quality is I make more and I have more time.
Yes.
Okay. I spend more time with people and I do other things and I do that kind of stuff. I don't, go buy another boat. So you have to decide like what's our goal? What are we really working for? I think that's part of the whole package that guys leave out because you're working to get a business going. Okay, when the old that first 2 years, 9 hats, working all the hours and all that's good, but then 10 years goes by and you realize you repeated the first 2 5 times. That's right? That's the hamster wheel because you just going because you didn't have a plan. And guys who work, I see guys die in the tractor. Okay, they're still plowing the field at 93 years old. They want it, they love it, but that's it. Guys working in their business. I had a guy to come do some carpet in my house. He was like 84, hunched over, coming in. He's putting the carpet in, still banging the job. I'm like, he's like 84. I mean, here's a guy I don't think he planned really well.
Yeah.
So no, you're still doing that. I'm just saying like a little bit of forethought, a little bit of time to sit, take a weekend, take a few days. Where are we going with this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What outcome on the family side? So I think diving into that and have people set that time aside once a quarter, once a month to really look at that again. That is part of your 5%. You need to understand where you're going. You need to understand when you need to pivot.
Yes.
Because nothing is linear in anything. You can't walk a straight line. You can't ride a bicycle in a straight line. You can't run a business in a straight line. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
And the ones who try are the ones who fail.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's so true. I mean, the guy driving the tractor, he probably at one point loved driving tractors, but at some stage in life, that's not suitable for your physical, being as well. So you got to, think about what the future might look like when you aren't as capable as you are right now, and plan for the future.
Or one thing you don't want to do, don't outlive your money. That could be problematic.
Outlive your money. Well, outlive money. Most people here in Australia do. I don't know if that's how it works over there, but most people aren't as financially set as they need to
that's
be.
Here.
So they need,
That's America. Yep. Most people are a month away from bankruptcy. The majority. I mean, so a lot of reasons for that, but it's not good stewardship. Let's just put it that way. good
No.
stewardship of your money.
Yeah. So you definitely want to start setting up your life. And that's the beauty of running a business. You're in control to a large degree of how you set your future up. When you're employed, you've just got limitation of what you can do, but building something yourself and is sustainable and can take you forward to the future you want. That's the
I,
power of business.
yeah, I think the West, and the part that gets convoluted is you are running this business, but you're not thinking about that stuff
Mm,
because you're in perpetual startup. It's always the next thing. Oh, when I make this, I get that one more job, or I get this, and then and then it just time goes so fast. Like I said, 2 to 10, and you're like no further than before you started, and you wonder why do I even do this, And you've had blinders on. You need the outside eyes. That's what I call them. That's us coaches, right? When we come
yeah.
in, we'll see everything in a heartbeat. Okay, because we have no emotional attachment to what you do. I'm
Yeah.
just coming in. I'm a surgeon. Okay. I'm coming in to remove the bad stuff. Okay. So you can live. That's what I'm here for. And I will see
Yeah.
it right away because I've been there working with them. And I always tell people I love working with contractors and all that because they all do the right, wrong things. Right.
Yeah.
I just come in, you're all doing the wrong thing. It's not difficult for me. I understand. I did all the wrong things. You're doing all the wrong things. I just want to compress that time instead of 10 years. Let's get that down to a year. Okay.
Mm,
You would go really good. Well, I'll save you 9 years of misery. Okay. And costly
yeah.
mistakes and bad decisions. I love to do that for people. If I
Yeah.
can help anyone avoid that, I'm in. I'll help you.
That's so good, Richard. I think this is the time to tell people how to connect with you. And obviously, you've unpacked a lot of information and insights, and I'm sure people will be interested to engage with you in some degree. Whether that's you tell us what would people do next?
I would just go to sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. You can go right there and you can see what I'm all about and everything else. You can reach out to me there. How about we do this? How about I give them a great gift? This has been a good show. I'll tell you what, if you go to Richard at sharpenthespiritcoaching.com, longest email in history, Richard at sharpenthespiritcoaching.com, and say, hey, I saw you on Wes's show. Could I get a free copy of your audiobook, Escape the Owner Prison? And I will send it to him right there. No strings attached.
That's generous. Thank you so much, Richard. I'll put that in the show notes as well, obviously, so
Yeah, do
people
it.
can
Yep.
easily do it as
Yeah,
well.
it's a great, just one caveat. You got to listen to me read it. So,
that's
if it's nails on a chalkboard right now, it's not going to get any better. So it's
you've
good.
got a good voice for radio, so all good.
Good face for one too. I got a good face for it.
Excellent, Richard. Thanks so much again for your time, and we'll stay connected, eh?
You bet, Wes. Thank you. Great show. I appreciate you having me on.
Cheers.